It is rare that you're going to catch me without notes, either in my head or on paper. It tells my age, right? But yeah, I'm a studier. If you ask me a question, I'm going to go and find the answer.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Welcome to Her Journey, presented by Kazukian Media Group.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey.
You have to continue to walk in your purpose.
We cannot control how other people respond to us.
As long as you have breath in your body, story does not end. Every day that God grants you, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey. Watch Her Journey, hosted by me, Joy Doss, brought to you by the Kazukian Media Group and proudly sponsored by Nike, Black Community Commitment.
Welcome back to Her Journey. This is Joy Doss, and I'm your host. And we are talking to some of the most phenomenal, successful women right here in our backyard in Memphis, Tennessee. This is our contribution to the solution. We are showing young girls and young women who and what they can be, all the different paths to success, the faces of success, and then we're sharing the stories. It's not always roses and gumdrops. We're talking about real stories, real tea with these women and how they got to where they are. Our phenomenal woman today is Tish Towns. Letitia, but Tish Towns. Everybody calls her Tish Towns.
Everybody calls me Tish Towns.
Yes, and she is the CAO of Regional One. I still want to call it the man.
Regional One Health.
Regional One Health. So Chief Administrative Officer. That's a big job. That's a pretty big job. And you've been in that space for how long?
Well, I've been in healthcare 30 years, healthcare administration 30 years. I've been at Regional One Health 14 and a half years. We'll make 15 years in June. On the senior leadership team since day one. Throughout my 15-year tenure there, it's hard for me to say 15 years, my portfolio has expanded. So for the last 4.5 years, I've been the Chief Administrative Officer.
So 30 years is a trip because you're like Black Don't Crack years old, man. Like 30 years in healthcare?
I started in healthcare administration in 1993.
Wow.
So 31 years, I guess, right?
That's something.
And before that, had 5 years in state government. So it's kind of sort of my second career, if you say, and if 5 years counts as a career and experience out of college. It does?
Absolutely
Okay.
does.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, yes, I've been working a long time.
Yeah. Nobody would say 30 years. The point is, nobody would think 30 years.
Yeah.
You're a Memphian, yes?
I am a Memphian, yes.
What's that path? You went to, well, everybody's like, where you go to school?
Where'd you go to high school? How far back do you want me to go, right? So I am a very, very proud graduate of Melrose High School.
Okay, Orange Mound, Tennessee.
Orange Mound, Tennessee. I was raised in Orange Mound, Tennessee. Graduated from Melrose in 1981.
Okay.
Left Melrose or Memphis. Went to Tennessee State University in Nashville. After graduating Tennessee State, that's where I had my first career in state government, always knowing that I would go back to graduate school. So while working in state government, I tinkered a little bit in public health at Meharry, but maybe part-time. It's hard to really concentrate on a full-time professional degree and work full-time. And so in 1992, or 91, I said it is time to go to school full-time. So I went to graduate school at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. At that time, one of 25 programs in the country in healthcare administration for a master's degree.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what was that path like? How did you decide to do healthcare administration, or how did you know you wanted to work?
How far back do you want me to go? No, I'm just kidding. So interesting. We all grow up and we all want to be what? Nurses or school teachers, right?
Yeah.
In some of our communities. And so I was either going to be an airline stewardess or nurse.
Okay. Airline stewardess is veering from the past.
Yeah.
Path a little bit.
Yeah. I was 16, 17, 18, right? What do you want to be, right? And so when I went to Tennessee State, I majored in nursing. That was my first major. I don't know how many times you get to change your major, but I got at least one time. But a very dear friend who eventually became my roommate from Cincinnati, her family was in the nursing home business. And they were all nursing home administrators, and she was majoring in healthcare administration. And, you meet people, you learn, you grow. I always say the best teacher is experience and exposure. And so I changed my major to healthcare administration after undergraduate school. And before I started to work in state government, I really did think I was ready to come home and run what was then the Med. And it's full circle moment when I came back to Memphis in 2009. But anyway, majored in healthcare administration, left Tennessee State, worked in state government, and then transitioned to the University of Alabama at Birmingham to become a hospital administrator through my didactic training.
So let's rewind a little bit. What was your childhood like, your early years, and what was that community like? What was the Mound like for you?
So, when people, I always say, I grew up on the north side of the south side of the Mound. I grew up off Barron, Pendleton area. I had a phenomenal childhood. Of course, growing up, it's my sister, my mom, my dad. I thought we were somebody or something, but a really, really good childhood. I was my parents' shadow. Wherever my parents went, that's where I wanted to go. I tell you, I really am an introvert. Like, my sister would be out playing with the kids. I might be going to Senatobia, Mississippi to a funeral with my dad. How bizarre is that, right? One of two kids. But we had great neighbors on our street. The woman at the end of our street was one of our teachers. So we knew all of the families on our street. They knew us. I can remember to this day at the other end of the street where the bus stopped, because I was bused to Richland Junior High School. And Miss Lofton would be out there waiting on somebody to get out of line, getting off that school bus, and had no problem getting you back in line. And so that was the community I grew up in. Actually went to church in Orange Mound. My family started at New Shiloh Baptist Church on Maywood Street, which is actually right behind Melrose, across Park. My senior year in high school, we moved to Mount Moriah East Baptist Church on Haynes, where I'm still a member.
Okay.
And so I spent my entire childhood and teenage years, I guess, my formative years, right there in the heart of Orange Mound. My dad's family's from the Westwood area. And so I tell people all the time, when you go north of Jackson, you lose me. You go south of Jackson to Westwood, Whitehaven. Okay, now we can talk. And so I had a good childhood. I have no regrets from my childhood. I had a mother who was stern enough, but she and my father were very intent on providing for their two girls. And so we had a good childhood. Probably the most, I don't even call it tragic, but one of the things that was very hard for me was my senior year in high school. As I was about to leave for college, my parents got a divorce, and that was very, very hard. Right,
Sure.
that was extremely hard. I think my sister was away at college at that time, but other than that, my memories are fun. My dad's family is very outgoing. So you could be like the 10th cousin, and it's like you are an aunt or an uncle, right? And so we have big family gatherings with his family. My mother's family, a lot more reserved, but my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was the first Black woman to be a pastor in a female pastor, in the Northern Mississippi Conference of the AME Church.
Okay.
And so, grew up in church on both sides, AME and Baptist, but I was telling the story of my mom's family is more reserved. We have these small Christmas gatherings. You eat, you go home. My dad's family, you start Christmas at 5 a.m. and you're still going on New Year's Eve, right? And everybody's still there. And so I think that the experiences on both sides of my family have really helped shape me. I'm probably fourth generation college on my mother's side.
Oh, wow.
most of me and my first cousins are first generation college on my dad's side.
Oh, that's really okay. So
Yeah.
we'll have to pick back up on that and talk a little bit more about that. But before we go to break, a question for you to think about.
Okay.
When did you know your journey as a Black woman would be different than everybody else's
When did I know my journey would be different
as a Black woman?
as a Black woman?
So you don't have to answer now. We're going to take a little break and
Okay.
we're going to come right back with that answer and a whole lot more from Tish Towns. This is Her Journey, presented by Kazukian Media Group.